Hey guys, and welcome. In today's video I'm going to be covering what are the best safety razor blades. So I've been very fortunate over the past number of years I've been wet shaving that I've gotten to try a lot of different blades, and through my experience with different blades I think I've really narrowed down what are some of the best or some of my favorite safety razor blades. These are blades that I always have around, that I'm always going back to in certain circumstances. Different safety razors, if you have a more mild razor or a more aggressive razor or a slant razor or open comb razor, they all require, at least for my skin, different types of blades. Sometimes you're looking for a much more mild blade or a sharper, more aggressive blade, depending on the type of razor you're using and the type of skin that you have. So I wanted to address in today's video what are my favorite blades, what are the best blades that I've found that will always have a place in my shaving den. And just a small caveat, if you're watching this in the future, it is currently November when I'm filming this, and I'm doing No Shave November, so I have 2 weeks of facial hair growth now. So normally I'm an everyday shaver, but not for this 1 month out of every year. Alright, so I've narrowed down 6 different safety razor blades I'd like to go through today that are my favorite, that I think are some of the best, if not the best blades out there. And these blades will cover a whole spectrum, from very mild, smooth razor blades to much more aggressive razor blades. So like I said, there's 6 different types of blades I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to start with the dullest or most smooth razor blades and go up to the sharper ones. Alright, so the first one, the dullest blade, but one that I really love, are these Treat blades. These are sometimes called the Treat Black Beauty. If you see these blades, I don't have this pack open right now, but these are actually black blades. They're really beautiful, and I really like these blades. They are not that sharp, but they're incredibly smooth. I really like pairing these in a more aggressive razor, with the Mula R41 or a very aggressive slant razor. I think that these perform great. I always go back to these, and I really enjoy these blades a lot. The second blade is oshkod. So these blades come to us from Russia, and these are fantastic blades. The first time I used them, I wasn't really too sure on the performance, but as I've used them more, I've just been completely impressed with these blades. They're definitely more aggressive than these Treat blades, but are still very smooth. These Treat blades I wouldn't put in like my Merkur 34C, which is a really very middle of the road razor. But these just aren't sharp enough to go in that razor blade. I just don't think I get a close enough shave. But starting with these, I can put them in a mild or very medium aggressiveness razor, and they give fantastic shaves. What really stands out about these blades for me is how incredibly smooth they are. They feel great. Especially I like putting these in slant head razors. I think they just give a very smooth shave. No weird angles with it, no like kind of pulling or tugging on any weirdness like that. These are fantastic blades. Alright, so now we're going to go a step up in aggressiveness. These are the Persona blades. I think that these are some of the most well-rounded blades that I've ever used. They really hit a really nice balance between how aggressive they are and how smooth they are. They still have a good amount of sharpness. They're not incredibly sharp. I'd say very medium sharpness, but also medium smoothness too. It's a really nice balance. So I can get closer shaves with these because they're sharper, but I don't get irritation when I use these at all. I really like these a lot. These have been my go-to blades for many years now, and these out of all the blades here are my personal favorite. But I think that these are awesome blades, and I know a lot of people love these. Alright, so this next one is another step up in sharpness. These are the Gillette 7 o'clock Super Stainless. So these kind of step up the sharpness a little bit, but you lose a little bit of the smoothness of the blade. Not much compared to the Persona blades, but it's definitely a step up in sharpness. These are fantastic. Putting these in a more mild razor like an Edward Jagger DEA9 or even up to a Merkur 34C. Some people even use these in really aggressive open comb razors. These are going to give you very close shaves very consistently. The sharpness on these is awesome. They just cruise through facial hair very easily, and while being sharp, they're also pretty smooth. They're not the smoothest blades out there. I don't think that they'd compare with the Treat or oshkod blades, but they're still very smooth, and I really love these blades. So these next two are very much on the sharper end of the spectrum. The first one are the Perma blades. These things are very sharp. I really like putting these in Mercor 34C when I've been shaving consistently every single day and my skin has kind of built up its toughness. I can get really BBS shaves with these very easily. They're so sharp, but they're still smooth. You know, there's no weird nicks or grabs with these blades. They're very sharp, but also forgiving, and I really appreciate these blades for that. I think these are among the sharper blades out there on the market. I think that these are the most forgiving sharp blades. And that's in contrast to the last blades here. This is the 6th blade. This is the feather stainless. Now these blades are awesome. These are the sharpest blades you can get out there. There is some compromise in their smoothness. You have to be careful with these because they're so sharp. You can definitely cut yourself with these. You know, they're not dangerous by any means, but you can definitely tell when you put a feather in there how sharp these things are. I can get some of my closest shaves ever with this, but I can also get a little bit of razor burn if I'm not incredibly careful. But I think that if you're shaving carefully and with good technique, these are unrivaled in terms of sharpness. They are just incredible blades that I really love. Alright, so going back down the list, my favorite sharpest blades down to the least aggressive blades that are more smooth goes from feather to the Perma Sharp to Gillette 7 o'clock Super Stainless. Then we go to the Persona Lab Blues, oshkod, and finally the Treat. So these are currently my favorite razor blades. You know, I've been using all of these for years. I love these blades, and this list could change in the future. But you know, currently, with a couple years under my belt, really looking at different blades and reviewing it, these have stood out to me. These ones always have a place over here in my medicine cabinet. I'm always pulling these razor blades out for different razors, or for, you know, if I'm looking for a certain type of shave. If maybe my skin's a little bit irritated, I'll go with something smoother. Or if it's feeling I just want to get a really close shave, I'll pick up some more of the aggressive razor blades. But anyway, those are my favorite. I think those are some of the best out there. Please comment below. I'm really interested to hear your guys' feedback and what blades you think should have been on this list, or maybe some of these that shouldn't have been on the list. But these are some of my favorites. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching.